Alright, I want to make a video really quick to show you how to convert from radians to degrees and degrees to radians. Remember that 1 revolution is equal to 360 degrees. 1 revolution is also equal to 2 pi radians. You can say radian or radians, it's fine. Alright, so if 2 pi radians is equal to, well, if 1 revolution is equal to both of these, then 2 pi radians is equal to 360 degrees. So that means that if we wanted to solve and see how many radians was equal, we want to know what 1 radian is equal to in terms of degrees, we would divide both sides by 2 pi. And so that would give us 1 radian on the left side, and that would be equal to 180 over pi degrees. Alright, we can also take that same formula and we can solve for degrees. So if I divided both sides by 360 degrees, then I would get that 1 degree is equal to pi over 180 radians. So we can use these two conversion factors to change from degrees to radians and radians to degrees. So if I want to go from degrees to radians, let's say that I had 30 degrees and I wanted to change that over to radians. So all I would need to do is multiply this by pi over 180. So that would be 30 pi over 180, or whenever you cancel out, you get pi over 6. Okay, and we could do that for any angle measure, and as long as you can cancel out, you want to cancel out and make it a pretty fraction like that. Okay, so let's say that I wanted to convert negative 135 degrees to radians. Then I multiply by pi over 180, and I'll get something here, believe it or not, that I can simplify. I can divide both of those by 45. Alright, and so I'm going to get negative 3 pi over 4. Now if you do get something that's not a pretty fraction like that, so like let's say that I wanted to convert 17 degrees to radians, I still multiply it by pi over 180, so I get 17 pi over 180, and that is how much that it's equal to. That is the radians. But remember, radians are real numbers, so if you ever have that and you want to change it to a real number, then you could get an approximation by taking your calculator, and you would just want to say 17 times pi. That gives you the numerator, and then divide by 180, and that'll tell you how many radians there are. So if I rounded that to 4 places, that would be 0.2967 radians. 0.2967 radians. A lot of times when it's not really pretty fractions like 3/4 or 1/6 or something like that, the homework may ask you to write it in radians like that. So how do we convert the other way? How do we convert from radians to degrees? So let's say that I had pi over 3 and I wanted to change that into degrees. So instead of multiplying by pi over 180, I would multiply by 180 over pi. Alright, and the pi's would always cancel out like that. And so then I have 180 divided by 3, which when you do that, you get 60 degrees. So the pi's will always cancel out. If you have a radian that has a pi in it, the pi's will always cancel out. Okay. So let's do another one. Let's say that I had 2 pi over 3, and I want to change that to degrees. So I would multiply by 180 over pi. The pi's would cancel out, and then I'd say 2 times 180, that's 360, divided by 3. That would give you 120 degrees. If for some reason your radians is just in real numbers, like say I wanted to change 2.5 radians to degrees, I would multiply it by 180 over pi, but then the pi doesn't cancel out because there's nothing to cancel out with it. So I'd want to use my calculator, and I'll say 2.5 times 180, and that's 450, and then divide that by pi. So I have to use the pi button. Don't just use 3.14. Alright, and then depending on where I round, let's say I round this to 3 places, that would be 143.239 degrees. Alright, and that's approximately, of course. So, just to review, to convert from degrees to radians, we multiply by pi over 180. To convert from radians to degrees, we multiply by 180 over pi. Alright, I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions.